Hey guys, welcome to another episode of our Herface Shop. This week we're back on the Stout because it hasn't finished itself. Alright, so last week I showed you the Stout and it is for sale. So I did say I was going to do a lot of work and I did very little work. I'm not very excited about putting this thing together because I don't actually really want it to go, but it has to go. There's some things coming. The Stout has to go. So I've been putting it off for the last week. I've had 1 week of isolation and I've done about 4 hours work on the Stout. So I really need to pull my finger out this week and get it finished, get it ready to sell. So when I am free, it can go. So I will get into this, but I'll show you what I distracted myself with last week first. All right, so over here we got the Subaru and the trailer and the truck. The truck's got about 2 weeks left of the rego. The Subaru is gonna get registered after the truck. I'm just gonna give it a break for a bit. Put 2 IBCs on the back, one full of rubbish and one full of scrap. Got some stuff here that I need to sort out. The rails down the bottom are for the fence. This fence is wooden and needs to be replaced. Then those containers are empty. The shed itself, pretty clean for once. Mitch and I did this a week or so ago, or 2 weeks ago. So pretty well good. And then I went back through and sorted everything once Mitch had left. So I haven't sorted this section here, but the rest of it's all been gone through and all organised. There's a bunch of stuff up there I need to bring down, but that's a bit of a 2-person job. Pushed the toy waste to the side and just sort of made myself a bit more room so I can get back on the wagon when I get to it. So then also I got the Stout stuff sorted out. So some of it's 25 stuff now, some of it's Stout stuff. Organised that. Got the wheels back from the acid dips. So they're for the front of the truck and they're for Dad's trailer. Also got the floor panels back so I can get back into the back of the car. So once I've done the Stout, I'm going to jump into this, get those back floors in, and then try and get this interior floor finished. Then I'll come back out on the sills and finish everything up. Then coming around the back, got the crown steel, which is good. That's going to go in the other shed when the Stout's gone, because it's too long for this shed. And then we've got the Stout stuff that I need to move from here. Got the Dodge cab dug out, and I've cleaned all of this area because that's all Stout stuff. These are all windows that I got for sale, so K30, 55, K20, K20 diffs, K20 axles, K10 front brakes. That's all Merc stuff. We've got 2 lots of K20 windows. Sorry, they're K10 windows, so I'm keeping those. K20 windows, getting rid of them. K20 front ends. So there's a fair bit going on, but this is so much cleaner than it was. This was basically just a pile of parts 2 weeks ago, so looks a whole lot cleaner. I've got something else coming that's going here. So one of the things I'm getting is going where the crown is. So one thing's going there, crown's going in there, and then one thing's going here, and then one thing's going in the driveway. So there's 3 things coming, but you won't know about that for maybe a week or 2. So let's get into this Stout. Alright, so I spent like 20 minutes just jiggering this, trying to jigger this anyway. Got the back up 50mm, we've got the middle on the mount, or very close to being on the mount, and we've got the front on the front mount. So it's probably in the right spot. Gonna have to get the level gauge and chuck it on the tray and chuck it on the seal, because when I first started building this, the idea was that the seal panel was level with the tray, or sorry, parallel with the tray. As you can see, it's really short. That was also intentional. So now I need to space it off the cab the correct amount, because otherwise you can't get to these hand grips, which that's probably not actually too bad. But I need to get it square with the back of the cab and also like centered with the back of the cab. So it doesn't look horrible where it is, but I'll have to get it right. So we got one shot at it really. And then this side's a bit further away, so bit of a thing. I'm just gonna have to keep fiddling with it until I get it right, because it's a bit of a pain. And then the plan is to weld the middle one on and the front one on, and then the back ones I'm probably going to have to cut down and remake because there's no rubbers on these ones, there's rubbers on those ones. So there's only 50mm at the back, and the rubbers are 30 I think, so I have to cut them right down. But I'm just going to keep playing with it until I get it right, and then once it's in the right spot I'll tack it and then show you where I'm at. Alright, so I've run into the problem that I had last time, which is why this tray isn't mounted. Every single measurement I've taken says this is in the middle, but when you look at it from the front, you can see that only like the side tailgate or the side gate or whatever is past the door. And then if you come around the other side, there's like more than that. Not much, but a little bit. I don't know. Actually looks better than I remember. And then we got the back reasonably square. So it's 25mm from the front of the tray. So from here to the back of the cab is 25mm. It's just enough room to get your hand on that handle and pull it open. So I don't want to put it in the wrong spot basically. But you can see the mounts at the front. You might not be able to. The mounts at the front line up with the crossbars or whatever you call them, which is how it was supposed to be. The back kind of lines up with the back body mounts, and the middle one kind of just falls wherever because that's how it works. Looks reasonably straight as well actually. I don't know what I complain about, it actually looks alright. I'm going to keep measuring and keep just moving it the tiniest little bit, and then I'll tack in the front mounts. Alright, so I've been adjusting this for literally like 45 minutes. I've got it dead square with the back of the cab. From the back of the cab to the front of the headboard is 60mm, which is the 25mm down there, which is a piece of RHS jammed in there. Then coming around the other side, we got the 60mm again and the piece of RHS. So the mounts are mostly lining up, but there's a little bit in those that can wiggle them a little bit. So I think it's time. To tack them on. I'm not really sure. I just don't want to do it again. I don't want to have to stuff this up. But then that one looks really square with that brace that's next to it. So maybe I should just start there. The back's going to be a bit of a mission anyway, but I think I'll get the front four done and then maybe lift the whole back up with the engine crane and make the mounts from there. But we're getting there. Probably doesn't look like much, it probably looks like I've done nothing, but it's nice and square now, and it actually measures up almost millimetre perfect. It's a little bit out, but I can't get it any closer by myself, because every time I move it a little bit it just twists. So I think we're good. I think we're good. Alright, I'm going to weld those front ones. You know when you have those jobs that you just keep putting off and you're hoping they're going to do themselves? If you just do them, they're done and they're out the way. That is someone else's advice and not mine, because I don't take it. But the front four are welded on. Now it's going to do the back two, and it's taken like an hour and a half. And I've been putting this off for 5 years. So that's actually really sturdy already. If you do buy this, take the tray off, fix that. Like flip it over, weld them properly, grind it all smooth, paint it. If you don't, I'll know, so just do it. So on the back ones, I currently got a 50mm, the actual mount that I want to use in there. And then we have a rubber spacer to go in there as well. So I need to make the rubber spacer and the mount a total of 50mm. So I'm gonna have to get the crane around here, jack this thing up, and then make those mounts, slip them in, lay it all down again, and then weld the back ones in. So just do that, and then I got to find some nuts, which I'm struggling for, so I might have to actually buy some more for these 6. And I just noticed that the cab's actually not bolted down. It's got the bolts in there and it's got a nut on it, but it's not tight at all, this back one at least. So I've got to do the cab mounts, these mounts, and then I can start putting the front end on. All the spares can go in the tray, and then I can wrap this up again and someone else can buy it with all of the spares contained, so it's good. Let's do some things. All right, so before I do the back mount, there is a little bit of fumbling in it, so I can lift the back up a little bit or push it down a little bit depending on what it needs. So I got this little angle find, so chuck it on the seal panel, zero it out, 0 degrees, so that's good. Put it over here just to make sure it doesn't change, a little bit. I'll zero it again. So it is going to change a little bit obviously, but we can get it pretty close. There you go, that's pretty good. Alright, so now if we put this on top of the tray, which is conveniently also metal. Wow, that was a good guess. Alright, so that's pretty much level. That didn't go as I planned. It's perfect, but it's not what I planned. That's 0. Heavens. Alright, so just pretend that didn't work first go and I adjusted the crane to suit. I'm just going to make this now, I'm not going to question it. Alright, so the plan is to cut, unfortunately I've already half made these, I'm going to cut these down and put the rubber on it, make that the height of that gap there, so about 40mm or so. So I'm going to cut this down a fair bit and the rubber and put it in and weld it on. So let's do that. Alright, so I just walked over to the shed to make those mounts. Even though I measured it, that is so wrong. Look how different that is. The sill panel level and the tray level. That's just wrong. I don't know what the hell I've done. Not sure how I measured that and it's still so wrong. Nothing's moved, nothing's changed. That's just not right at all. So that's going to get up at the back, obviously. And you can see there's a huge gap just here. Huge gap right there. Maybe the crane sunk or something. I don't know, I gotta fix that. So I closed up the gap here. Now it looks fine. That gap's closed up. Looks level again. And the gap at the back is heaps bigger, so I don't know what I did. Heaps better. I don't know what I did. Alright, I'm gonna have to measure that again because it's obviously changed. Back to the drawing board. Alright, I measured everything again. 15mm difference is what how wonky that tray was. So I measured it at 35 the first time. Measure at 15 the second time. Sorry, 50 the second time. So I need 50mm from the bottom of this to the top of this. So, what a good excuse to use my bandsaw. So I've actually done one test cut with this and I've never actually used it for anything that I actually needed it for. So I'm going to use it for these guys and see how we go. No idea if this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Looks like a thing. It's got the creep real slow. It's cutting really nicely. Got the coolant going very, very dribbly because otherwise it goes everywhere. Let's hope this works the way it should. Alright, so I may have forgotten about the camera and got on with it. These are the parts I cut off and that's how well they cut. So you think you do a pretty good job with an angle grinder. Obviously these need a flat disc, but then you look at how bad they are compared to a bandsaw. Get a bandsaw, everybody. Get a bandsaw. So that's wicked. I have put the mounts in the tray. As you can see, there is no crane anymore. And there is a mount in there and it is welded. So, kerchow. They look like crap, but they hold the tray. I've welded like 3 sides. So again, if you buy this, you may want to remount everything, or you can just spray paint it black and call it a day. But we have a tray that is relatively level with the sill panel. Super stubby, which is awesome. So that's pretty much all I want to do in the back. I just got to bolt that on, obviously, and bolt the cab on, like I said before. I'm going to need someone else to help me with the front because the cab bolts are inside and the nuts are on the bottom. So now, what do I need to do? I'll bolt that stuff down. Then I might try and find a floor for this, just some kind of timber or piece of steel. And then I'll get all the parts that I've got for this thing, chuck them in here, and then when someone comes to buy this thing, they can take the parts with them. So I'm going to dig all the doors out and everything. They're all next to the crown like I showed you before. So I'm going to dig all of that stuff out and then try and start putting the front end together. So I did say in the last episode I had to put the doors on before I put the guards on. I actually only have to put the door hinges on before I put the guards on, which is easy if you know which hinge is which, but I don't. So I'm going to have to put the door on with the hinges and then take the door off to put the guard on, or leave the door on. I don't know. Alright, so funnily enough, if you stop whinging about it, it happens. If you just do it, it gets done. So I've got the door on, got both doors on actually. This was a little bit of a pain because the hinges, I don't know which side went which side and which was top and bottom, but we got there in the end. And the doors are pretty decent. The driver's side's a bit worse fitting than the passenger side, but I think that's because of how I put it back together. But as you can see, these doors have been cleaned up and given a bit of paint. They have central locking in them somehow, somewhere, and they shut pretty good. So there's the doors on both sides. As for the tray, the middle mounts were a smaller bolt. They were, I think, 1/2 inch, and then the front and back are 9/16, which I don't have the nuts for. So I've bolted the middle in. Need to get nuts for the other 4 corners and also the cab, but now we can do the front end. So I've basically just got to put the guards on the headlight panel and the bonnet and just make it look like a car again. I'll probably just put the bonnet on for photos and then take it off when it gets moved, because there's no clip at the front unless you want to run a ratchet strap to the front, which is also an option. So I don't know, it's getting there. I'm still not super keen on doing it, but ticking away. So I think it looks pretty cool. Forgot how cool this thing was until I started putting it back together, which isn't great. Just keep telling myself that I can't keep it. Can't keep it. Can't keep all of them. Just get rid of it. Haven't touched it in like 5 years. Just get rid of it. Alright. Turns out if I did as much work as I do complain, we would have been done 2 days ago. Because this took like an hour to get the front end back together. It's bolted together, but not very well. So nothing's like cross-threaded or anything. It's just got half the bolts in it. So if you get this, just assume that everything's loose. And like I haven't done anything with the panel gaps and stuff like that. So it's pretty good. Looks cool. I forgot how short it was. When I was building this, I wanted it as short as I could and just like real cool looking and just really, really stumpy. And honestly, I think I did a pretty good job of that. It's really tiny. This is like, what, 6 inches longer than a Corolla? So it's pretty small. Cool thing. I'm going to miss it, but can't get attached to it now. Looks good. Alright, for sale. Toyota Stout. Come get it. Alright, well I guess that's it for this week. Stout's done. I'm just going to collect all the parts from in the shed and everywhere that they are scattered, put them with it. Well, I'm currently stucking them into the white box. Get all the parts together, list it up for sale. This is a very sad and, I don't know, it's kind of cool, but it's very sad. Thank you very much for watching and we'll see you next week.